for the non-technical people in the room. But if you are technical, you still have to stick around because there's a lot of transferable skills, a lot of transferable knowledge that cuts across both the technical and the non-technical, especially when you're talking about the global talent visa. We still, you hear that we still apply against the global talent and the promise category and the exceptional talent category, whether it's technical or non-technical. So most of the criteria are similar. So you're welcome. All right. We have our coaches in the house, like I said. I'll quickly run through our announcement. So like you all know, we have previous open day and we have this resource online. If you go on YouTube, you'll find videos from our past editions. If you go on our app, eMigr8 app on Android and iOS store, you will find resource videos from our past editions. You can binge on them. It's free of charge, right? There are a lot of information that you can glean from those videos, especially if you're looking at the global talent visa, you're looking at the UK, looking at Canada. If you're looking at Australia, we've talked about Hong Kong. We've talked about the US, of course, right? Loads of videos. Feel free to use them. They are resources. They are online just for you, right? And today we're talking about landing the UK global talent visa with non-technical skill. We have Rika and Adisha on the line. This is our coach for today, right? I spoke about our eMigr8 app already. It's on Android store, it's on iOS store, and you can also find it on our website. The link is also on our website. There are a lot of gifts on that platform. There are a lot of information on the platform. We do readily share information there. That's our first point of contact when it comes to disseminating and sharing of information. So you want to have that resource on your phone for easy access. We have a package called Settle in the UK as a tech talent. This is very beginner friendly and also expert friendly. Allows you move with your spouse and your dependent. Allows you switch visa for settlement. What you need is a bit of time and equity investment for this route, right? If you are interested, there's a phone number on the screen. You can send a WhatsApp message to those number or go on eMigr8visa.com. We have a simple short form. We just want to know who you are, where you are on your journey, and what you want us to help you with, right? And if you're interested in settling in the UK as a tech talent, just state that and we will connect you with the right information and the right coaches you need to speak with. We have previous editions. We also are looking into the future, right? So next editions will be around the Innovator Founder Visa. We're also going to be talking about the Global Talent Visa before the year runs to a close. Right. So eMigr8, tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement is our focus. It's what we help people do. It's what we advise on. We are by no means a legal immigration experts, right? We are not a legal company or an immigration company. We just share our stories. We share our journey. We share the information we had that helped us to navigate the path with those people that are looking forward to taking those journeys themselves. All right, so you can fact check any information you're going to be receiving today online on gov.uk, on Technation website. Fact check any information you're going to be hearing today to make sure they are true. Yes, we have coaches, but we still employ you to do your own research and read up for yourself also. So what is eMigr8? We're here to help you become globally attractive, right? We help you, look through your tech profile or your tech-enabled business profile. We appraise it and make sure that you are presenting yourself correctly, right? And the side effect of that, once you're globally attractive, is that visas will be given to you. Visas is only a side effect of our objective. Our objective is to make you globally attractive, and we do that by reviewing your tech profile, either your personal tech profile or your tech-enabled business profile, making sure you are measuring against international and industry standard, right? We have a community, and this is a community event. What eMigr8 covers, what are the benefits of being part of the community? Sessions like these that are free, right, is what you get to enjoy. It's an information session. General inquiry, so please use the chat room to ask any question you have. We have limited time. We can't spend the whole night. We have limited time, but as you know, it's first come, first serve. If you've dropped your question early, the opportunity to get to it is higher. All right, so drop your questions on the chat. We cannot sort of unmute everybody to speak because we don't want anybody to seize the mic. So just drop your questions, and the speakers of the day will go through the questions and answer to the best of the knowledge they have. All right, so a general inquiry session. We also have coaching and hand-holding session within the community, right? As part of the service we offer, right? We have roadmap sessions for globally attractive tech profile and also for businesses, right? We have self-directed roadmap to qualify you for a tech-enabled visa. So if you're wondering, do I qualify for the Tech Nation visa for the UK, or do I qualify for the Tech Nation visa for Australia? All right, we can have a directed roadmap to see what you have and project that against the criteria that these tech talent visas are looking out for. And we can make informed decisions after doing that, right? So those are some of the benefits that you will enjoy in our community. And largely 85% of what we do is free of charge, right? We do have premium service just because of unique circumstances. There are people that are not able to join because of their schedule, because of their own their own circumstances, and they rather go for a premium and package. So we have the premium package directed at them. So personalized coaching session, the eMigr8 circle. We have standard packages for reviews and also to do introductions, depending on the visa you're exploring. We have the eMigr8 Premium service, which is a full-fledged 1 to 2 year program that pre-qualifies you, especially for beginners, and give you a roadmap that you can walk through to become globally attractive. We also have custom service, just tailoring a package around your unique circumstance to make sure we are meeting your needs and we're not leaving anybody behind. But apart from those, every other thing we do on the platform is free. You can ask questions on this call. You can ask questions in our communities, and we do well to answer. We have introductory videos. We have loads of resource online, both articles and visuals, videos on YouTube and on our app. You can find them there. You can find information. Now, if you're interested in either the free sessions or the premium session, just go to eMigr8, eMigr8 with an 8 visa.com/tech visas visa. You will find a short form there. Just click on get started. It will lead you to a page that has a short form. We just want to know who you are, what you're looking at for, and if you have a unique circumstance, how can we help? All right, so just go there and we will connect with you on that platform. We'll also share link to our community within this conversation so that you can join our social communities also. All right, eMigr8 packages include but are not limited to the one displayed on your screen at the moment. We have moved to the UK as a global talent that focuses on the United Kingdom, and that is the Global Talent Visa, otherwise known as Tech Nation visa. That is the focus of our conversation today for the non-technical people in the room, right? We also have moved to the UK as an innovator founder. Again, that is focused on the UK. We have moved to the US as a global talent. That's the US O1 visa. We have coaches. When I say we have, I mean we have coaches in-house that can work with you if you are on any of this path, and they will lead you in a way that you are positioning yourself rightly to land this visa and also to land opportunities within the country that is offering these opportunities, right? Yes, we have the eMigr8 community. We have it on WhatsApp. We have it on Telegram. We have it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. We're going to be dropping the links to this community. Do it to click on any of them and join the community. At the end of this session, I do have a gift for everyone that waits to the end, right? And you're going to need the community to activate that gift. So do it to connect and join the community. What we ask is that you engage in the community. We don't like ghost membership. We like people that are very interactive so that we can monitor your growth and help you where you need to move faster. All right. So ask question. It's a very robust community. When you're asking question, we ask that you are brief and you're brilliant so that we can get to the exact question you need us to answer, and we can answer that exact question for you. Right. Also do well to recommend it, share, comment, and interact with people, build network in the community, and it's a community. You can benefit from the community and use it wisely, but don't abuse the opportunity. All right. We do have the eMigr8 app, and you can book coaching sessions through the app. You can also find information that you can use in the app, right? So the eMigr8 app is available on the Android Play Store and the iOS Play Store. And also you can download it from emigratvisa.com, which is our website. You can download the app. Now we have a campaign going on, all right, for those people that if you use the app consistently for 7 days, which is 1 week, you are going to win a prize, right? If you're in the chat room and you've won any of those prizes, do let us know in the chat. And how did you use the prize? So if you are on the platform and you use the app for 7 days straight, you are going to win a free coaching session. Let me just put it out there. A free coaching session. All right. We also have a campaign going on, all right, referral bonus to give to friends and family as a gift, right? So if you have friends and families, colleagues who are looking to relocate, right, and to set they're looking to relocate or looking for settlement in a different clime, right, you can recommend eMigr8 platform to them and win £35. So that is, fantastic incentive for you to invite your friends, your colleagues, and everyone. Right. Having said that, we also like to know if you're in the chat, if you're on this call, we like to know, use the chat. Where are you joining us from? All right. It's a community. So please tell us your name, tell us what you do. Right. My name is Moody. I'm a product manager. Right. I'm joining from Bangladesh. Right. So we need to know who is in the room. Right. So that we can speak, to the people in the room. We're not just speaking generically. So if we have, business analysts in the room, product managers in the room, project managers in the room, scrum masters in the room, we want to know, and we also want to know the location they are joining from. That would help us to project how we have this conversation. So use the chat room, connect to people. You can also put your LinkedIn connections and link on the chat to have, so friends, you can follow each other and connect with each other, and let's build this community together. All right. Give me a minute. So we have a survey going on, the eMigr8 user experience survey. For those of you that have used our eMigr8, any of the eMigr8 platform, whether our web platform or our app platform, we have the survey. We're going to be sharing the link on the group, and we do ask that you spend a minute or two to help us fill the survey. For us, it's just a feedback channel for us to be able to build something that is useful to you and something that you enjoy using. So your feedback is very important. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about our partners and sister companies that we do work with, right? One of them is the Bincom Dev Center, which is a technology hub. The Bincom Dev Center have incubated a lot of programs and a lot of products in the past. One of such products is the Bincom Global Tech program, where you can learn any tech skill of your choice, right? And you can gain experience learning the skills because you're going to be learning with live environment, working with real life projects, and you will gain exposure because you're going to be working with real life technology products and projects. And this platform is very beginner friendly. So if you're a beginner in the room and you're like thinking, I want to learn, I want to be a data scientist one day. Let me start by learning Python. The Bincom Global Tech program is a fantastic bet for you. If you are not a beginner and you're intermediate, or you have self-taught before now, you've been teaching yourself learning online, this is also a fantastic program for you because you get to work on real life projects. which you might not have the opportunity if you're working on your own, right? And this will give you experience and will give you exposure. It's a different ball game when you're, just learning on your own and when you're working on a live product or a live project. You tend to gain more skills and learn faster. So take advantage of this opportunity. If you have friends, siblings who need this opportunity, do share with them. It's beacom.net/global tech program, right? And you will find it very useful. It's very beginner friendly. It's also intermediate level friendly. All right. Become a tech talent. It's another program that the Beacom Dev Center has incubated in the UK, right? So if you are in the UK and you're looking for tech training, you're looking for individual tech career coaching, right? We do have a package, or we are looking at for tech apprenticeship within UK companies references. We do have a package for 3 months. We're going to work with you for 3 months. And we'll, these are loads of benefits packed. There are loads of benefits packed in this package that we do offer. And we do offer it at a discounted £1,000 for those 3 months of work, right? So from tech training to career coaching sessions to tech apprenticeship and other features that we do, including recommendation that we do offer, right, within the ecosystem. If you are in the UK if you're in the UK and you're looking out for this opportunity, it's particularly good for those that are just trying to find their way into tech, right? Especially if you're looking at switching your visa at some point, right? This is a pathway of landing a tech visa for both beginners and an advanced level. We would walk through what we'll call a roadmap that will get you to that point where we can call you intermediate, maybe a junior developer, or even a senior developer, right? We do have the Beacom mentoring platform. Most of the, if not all of the tech visa route will check how much you have contributed to the ecosystem you belong to. And one of the ways to show that is through mentorship, the number of people you've mentored or the platform that you're mentoring on. And they usually want that platform to be, or that mentorship program to be in a structured environment. So the Beacom Dev Center has a mentoring platform that you can leverage. So if you are a mentee in the room, you're looking for mentors, do sign up. If you're a mentor in the room and you're looking out for a structured environment where you can have conversation and mentor mentees, this is a fantastic platform for you. The beacom.net/mentor registration is where you want to go to. A simple short form. We just want to know your stack, your name, and what you do. And we would connect, we'll do the connection between the mentor and the mentee just to make it smooth, right? And you can use this as part of your evidencing for technician or any of the visa routes that you are looking at. All right. We also have the Labs by Beacom, which is also incubated by the Beacom Dev Center. It's a product-led digital technology. Is you building a product-led digital technology with your team. So we have different cohorts, and what they do is to come together to build a technology product, right? Build a startup. And it runs for 3 to 6 months. You do have team members, 3 to 10 people in a group, and you choose a particular subject that you want to build. You want to build TFL platform where you can make payment or make collection. You want to build a climate web application to monitor climate change. Anything you want to build, we do have the environment. We do have the environment where that will support that, and we do have tutors, coaches that would help in that 3 to 6 months to make sure you are building that product. So is you being a co-founder and building a technology product. Now, most of the platforms you're going to, most of the visa opportunity are looking at for what have you done in the digital space. Have you built a product? What is the impact of that product? Now, this is a fantastic opportunity for folks that have been in service or customer service or general service arms of technology before now, and they're looking to explore any of the visa routes. You want to add products into your portfolio. And if you have built product before, you want to add more product to your portfolio, whether for a visa purpose or for, making your CV stronger. Now, this is a fantastic opportunity. It's also a fantastic project to have by the side, 3 to 6 month investment, and you would know what it is to build a product from scratch, from ideation to go to market strategy and even scale. So it's a fantastic opportunity. There are different cohorts. So if you go to beancom.net/lab and fill the form there, they will connect you and give you information as to when the next cohort starts. And if there's an ongoing cohort that you can be part of, they will connect you there. All right. Fantastic. Tech career coaching. It's a fantastic platform, right? Where if you are in tech, you're looking for employment or you're looking for your next role, this is the platform you want to come to. So land your next role fast is a promise of value. Build relevant experience in your target country. Connect with tech recruiters. You want to know, what are tech recruiters looking out for, in the CVs that they do accept, or those that make it to interview, and what are they even looking out for those that they do finally interview. You want to have those information if you are in the room, right? Or you're looking for jobs with sponsorship, right? This is a fantastic coaching platform, coaching service that you want to explore. Beancom.net/tech career coaching is where you want to go to. So this is for individuals who are already in tech. You are a senior developer or you are a product manager, project manager, and you are looking for your next tech role, right? We can give you information that you can leverage. All right. Back to our visa, back to eMigr8. This, you can take a screenshot of the screen you're looking at. It just shows the different visa and the countries that offer them, right? From startup visa to talent visa to work or employment-based visa to digital nomad visas, right? And the countries that offer them. We speak to these countries, and this is not an exhaustive list, but if you go online, you can research all of them. We have coaches that can speak to them individually, right? So we have a coach that can coach you when it comes to the business and innovation and investment visa for Australia, for example, which is the startup visa for Australia. We do have coaches that can coach you for the Innovator Founder Visa UK, Startup Visa for UK. Today, we're going to be talking about Talent Visa. So the Global Talent Visa, which is otherwise known as Tech Nation for the UK. The O1 visa, which is in the O1 Individual with Extraordinary Ability Visa for the US. Right, we do have coaches. These are individuals that have applied for this visa. They've gone through the process. They've gotten the endorsement, and they are living in this country, many of them. They are now offering their time to coach people that are looking to take that path. So we do have resource online, and we do have resource that we can also connect you with, right? So what I say is that pick any of the visa you're looking out for, do your own research. Then when you need help, come to us and we're able to point you in the right direction. But one of the things that is key for every of those visa routes is that they are looking for people that are globally attractive. They are looking for individuals that can come and close shortage gap in the various industries within the country. They are looking for individuals that can create value, that can create startup, that can create employment, that will contribute to the national GDP of the country. So they are not doing you a favor, right? They need your service as much as you need the opportunity that they hold. So it's a win-win situation, but the lowest common denomination is you have to be globally attractive. And that is why eMigr8 exists. And that is why we are building partnership every other day with people, with company, with organization that will make you globally attractive in a way that once you step into our ecosystem, we can connect you with the right information or the right people that will help you get to that destination. Most of the opportunity we speak to, right, currently offer pathway to settlement, right? They are focused on tech-enabled opportunity. They allow you move with your family, your dependents, right? And they are beginner-friendly. That means you can come in as a newbie, and we have a roadmap that you can follow through. And in a year or two, you can get one or multiple of this visa, right? So this is not exhaustively, so when we come to the benefit, we can go on and on, but that is not the main juice. That's not the main gist for today, right? I can't wait for you to hear from the speaker. So I'm just going to run through this. We did a write-up that talked about an article that talked about the landscape, the tech-enabled visa landscape for 2023, right? It's one of the information or it's one of the resources that you will find useful. Basically, just highlighting the changes that happened in 2023 in the tech visa landscape, the introductions, the things that were introduced, the new immigration laws that have been, introduced and stuff like that. So it's a fantastic piece of article that you want to pick up and read, because some of those changes are informing the new changes that we are seeing today, or are informing the way that visa applications are now being organized or executed today. So you want to take a look at that, whether you're a newbie or you are intermediate or expert. This information can help you position rightly for the visa route that you are looking for. And now, if you are still in the room and you're still thinking, do I qualify? I'm not 100% sure. What do I need to do to be 100% sure? Right. Well, we can help you, right? We do have coaches that can work with you and will design what I'm mentioning roadmap, throughout my conversation this evening, right? So we do have coaches that can sit with you and we will structure a personalized roadmap for you, whether you're a newbie or you are a beginner or intermediate and even an expert. And we can tailor out things you need to do to dot the I's and cross the T to make you globally attractive. So don't rule yourself out. We just say, give yourself the opportunity by contacting us, joining our community, and we can sit down and have a personalized roadmap that will work for you. All right. Fantastic. But before that, let's now turn over to our speaker for today and our coach for today. Right. We're talking about landing the UK Global Talent Visa for non-technical skill people. Right. We have Coach Reka Matthews in the room. Hi, Coach.
Hi. Hi.
Right. I'm going to hand over to you now to take us through your journey. And if you have any question as she's speaking, please use the chat room, drop your question. And when she's done, we will have a second speaker for today come through, then hopefully come to the questions at the end of the conversation. Hello, you can take it away now.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Moody. Hi, everyone. It's really lovely to meet you all and to be a part of this conversation, I think. I think it's a really important one, right? So just to give a bit of an introduction about myself. So I am Rekha, and I currently work as a product manager and also a startup mentor in London. And I recently received my global talent visa. And recently means earlier this year in 2024. I applied under digital technology with my specialist skill as product management and was endorsed by Technician. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here today to share my experience of the application process, and yeah, hopefully would be helpful to all of you who are currently preparing for the application. So yeah. So first, I would like to give a little bit of a glimpse into my journey into technology, so that you can probably relate to my journey and probably ask me any questions later on if you want to. So I did my bachelor's in computer science and engineering back home in India. And right after my bachelor's, I was placed in a tech company called Infosys, again back home in India, where I worked as a senior systems engineer for a few years. Work was all good. I was working in tech, basically working on front-end and back-end development of web-based solutions and desktop-based solutions for clients like Microsoft and Toyota. Um, but somehow I felt like I wanted to make an impact in an area that resonated with my interest and my passion. So a few years into the job, I decided to resign, and went into a bit of an exploration mode around what I really want to do and how I want to take my career forward. Um, so as a kid, I was really interested in like sports and dance, and I really loved like performance side of things. So I think this break really helped me explore a little bit different from tech, but also gave that experience back to me, or that interest back to me of exploring my passion for human performance. So I decided to do a master's that helped me pursued this career. So I went on to do a master's in sports and exercise science in the UK, and luckily I was able to get a fully funded scholarship by British Council to pursue my master's. This was in 2019. And after I finished my master's in the UK, um, I got placed in a startup as a sports product manager, where they were looking for someone who had the skills of a sports scientist as well as a computer scientist to be able to build an app for athletes, which turned out to be really great and worked out in my favor because I was able to use both my skills in tech as well as performance, specifically sports science, to be able to pursue my career. And this was about 2.5 years ago. So I actually came into the UK as a student. That was when I did my master's. And when I got my employment, I switched that to a skilled worker visa because that is usually what the employers give you as an international employee. And as soon as I got my visa, a few months into it, I was still exploring. I wanted a little bit more flexibility on my visa and my immigration status. So I was really interested in like applying my skills, knowledge, and expertise in areas that is beyond my immediate occupation, and like for example, like accelerator programs and multiple startups, which I currently do because I work as a startup mentor as well with accelerator programs. So global talent visa really helped me in that regard. But that restriction at that point of time with the skilled worker visa really motivated me to look further for other immigration or visa options that gave me flexibility to work beyond my immediate occupation. And that is when I came across the global talent visa and thought I'll give it a shot. Um, so just to give a bit of background of how I started the application, I first heard about Global Talent Visa in 2022. I guess, yeah, a year before I was, started to apply. It came up as one of the conversations with one of my friends, and we both of us like reviewed the requirements, and we both initially considered to be completely out of our capabilities because sometimes the technician guide can be quite extensive and overwhelming and intimidating. So I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but when I read it for the first time, I was like, this is something beyond my abilities. I will not be able to crack it. So I decided to let it go and not apply for it at that point of time. But in 2023, again, I this idea resurfaced in my mind and decided to give it a shot in spite of the initial reservations. And there was a 3-day long weekend where I decided that I'm going to sit down and finish my application on those 3 days. Fast forward to 3 days later, I had only managed to draft a few paragraphs of my personal statement. And it became very evident that it was more laborious and time consuming than I had anticipated. And it required thorough preparation to build a compelling case. So from May 2020 to 20, from May 2023 onwards, I decided to dedicate every weekend and sometimes some evenings after work to meticulously prepare my application. And finally, at the end of 2023, I submitted my application. And in February 2024, I was granted the Global Talent Visa. So this has been my journey of applying for the Global Talent Visa in short, and I would love to like share some insights into some of those visa requirements and probably give you some insights of how you can meet those requirements as well. So I'm sure most of you have probably gone through. I saw in the chat that most of you are working in different parts of technology, some in product management, product development, testing, engineering. So I think that's great. And I'm sure you must have all gone through the technician guide. And I don't know how you felt in the beginning, but if you felt overwhelmed, I can completely relate to it. So if you go through the technician guide, I think it provides you quite actually a good detail of what is required from you. It is just that it is like quite extensive, but if you sit down and break it down, you'll really be able to understand what they're trying to say and what are the requirements and eligibility criteria and all of those things. So overall, I think what are the three things that contributes the most to the application? One is your personal statement. Second is your list of evidence. And third is your letter of recommendation. And I'll go through each one of those so that it'll be helpful for you. So firstly, coming to personal statement, I would encourage you all to tell your story as authentically as possible, and you have to take ownership of your journey. So be it like if you're showcasing any successes or even failures, you should be proud to share them because they want to know your personal journey. What made you you, your personal struggles, what was your motivation to take this particular path in your career. So they want to see that side of you, who you as a person, you as a human, beyond the list of evidence that you'll provide later on. So try to make it as personal as you can. And as far as I've seen, applications don't get rejected personally, I mean, solely on the basis of personal statement, but it can be one of the contributing factors when evaluators looking at the application as a whole. So try to avoid like generic statements like, for example, if the question is, how will the UK digital technology sector benefit from your work? And try to avoid generic statements like, I believe I can make a significant advancement in the sector. Like that is like very generic. They want to know how your skills and expertise will make that contribution. So take examples from your personal work and your background to justify those questions. So I think with the personal statement, I think the key is to be authentic and personal as well as showcase your skills into those questions that they're trying to ask. Um, and also like try to identify 4 to 5 points that you want to create a good impression on the panel after they read the personal statement. So these points should effectively present you as a person and strengthen your case. So these 4 to 5. So make sure that those 4 to 5 points you bring it also within the evidences as well as the personal recommendation letter. So all of these together should be like related. They're not like independent to each other, they are related to each other. So whatever you're mentioning, the personal statement should also be evidenced somewhere in the evidence as well as it should be spoken about somewhere in the recommendation letter as well. So make sure that you see it as a whole, as a one cohesive, um, you know, document list than, being each of them separate. Um, so I personally had to take like so many different iterations to make my personal statement really good. I think I went through about 6 to 7 iterations until I was quite happy with it. So, you might have to give it a few different tries and iterations and make sure you get it reviewed from one of the people who have got the global talent visa or any sort of help that you're getting from any organization to review a personal statement and give you the feedback because that insight can be really helpful to strengthen your case. Second is your evidences. And I think, as far as I've seen, this is the main area where there are chances that you might get rejected. So you need to give it enough time and thought behind what evidence you choose. And not only that, how you put them together. As I said, Technation has the list of evidence that you can include, and they are quite elaborative and detailed. So I think make sure that you read them. Um, and one thing that I found it helpful when reading the Global Talent Visa and the Technician Guide is like taking your time to understand what they're saying, making notes, highlighting sections of it, and like reading it at different times of the week or over a couple of days or months to be able to like come back and really understand what they're saying. So have a good like time to time read of the Technician Guide to be able to understand what are the evidences, what are the things within the evidences that they're trying to ask you, and how you can like present them in the most cohesive way. I see many times people get a bit confused because they have not read the Technician Guide properly. So as you all might know that you only need 2 mandatory evidences and 4 optional documents. So some individuals come back and say they don't have all the 10 evidences and therefore they don't qualify, wherein you don't need 10 evidences necessarily. So these are some of the things that some people don't really understand. And I think reading it over and over again really helps you understand what is really required of you. Mm, Again, try your tie try to tie your evidence back to whatever your role was. So for example, there are many times within the evidences where they ask you for show, like, you have to show your recognition or your award for any specific contribution that you have made. So if the award that you've received is as a part of a team, you need to explicitly mention what was your role in that award or what was your recognition in that award. If you have a newspaper article that is released based on the project that you worked on, again, where was your part? What did you do? Whether it is in your personal on the recommendation letters by your recommenders, or it is in the list of evidence where you can show your name explicitly. I think these are some of the things that are really important to include, which some people kind of oversee, because when they ask for awards or recognition, they just send probably a clipping from a newspaper that the project that as a team that they worked on. But unfortunately, that really doesn't work. They need to see what was your role in that particular project or what was your contribution in that particular area. So I think keeping that in mind is very important. And I think, especially with evidences, it is really important that you build it over a period of time. So be it your mandatory or your optional criteria, there should be a consistent track record of your achievements and recognition. So just a one-off event, like 1 week before you make your application, might not be, might not work, because they will point it out and they will flag it saying that it is a very recent contribution. So try to build your profile over time, whether it is speaking engagements or recognition or your public profile. All of this takes time to build, and so that you can, whenever they ask for evidence, you can show not just one evidence but multiple evidence over a period of time, because they need to see the track record in your achievements or in your evidences. So yeah, take your own time to build that, even if it means it might take 6 to 12 months to build your application together and yeah, apply it later on. Um, and then lastly, you might need to look at what are your contributions beyond your immediate occupation, as we all like are working in our own companies and have our own roles. I think looking from an industry perspective is also important. So you need to show what your relevant activities that you do outside of your immediate occupation, as well as if you get able to draw any sort of networks or any person from your network who belong in that industry who can recommend you. I think those sort of evidences and a letter of recommendation can stand really strong, because you're recognized not just within your role but also broadly within the sector. So all these things contribute a lot to your evidences that you are producing. And coming lastly to the recommendation letter. So ensure you provide enough context to your referees to comprehend the nature of your application. If it is helpful, share with them your personal statement, if possible, so that they can grasp the complete context and enable them to even like incorporate certain keywords from the recommendation, from the personal statement into the recommendation letter. And as I said in the beginning, when you identify the 4 to 5 points that you want to emphasize on your personal statement, make sure those points do come across in those recommendation letter when your recommenders are talking about you. And, obviously you'll be, justifying those in your evidences as well, but make sure those points come here as well so that it works together as one cohesive application. And one thing I've seen a lot of points where recommendation letters get rejected is when they use unverified self-authored texts that does not name you or does not really connect to you. So just when you make a point in your recommendation letter, make sure it has some evidence somewhere in your evidence list, or it is backed. So if you're making a statement about an impact that you've made, you've contributed X percentage of revenue to your company. If your recommender is saying that, make sure that evidence is there in your evidence list. So yeah, try not to make any self-authorized claims or text within your recommendation letter, or at least make sure that that you convey that to your recommender so that they keep that in mind. And since the referees all have to be at a certain position within the company or within your industry, probably senior members of the company. So make sure that you give them enough time to go through your application and come back to you. And as you might understand, they might be busy individuals. So instead of don't try to rush them, and give them enough time. And yeah, make sure that they have the right information and time to come back to you with a good recommendation letter that will be favoring you at the end. And yeah, so last a few tips from my side for people who are looking for this pathway. So um, yeah, there are enough like resources out there to help you out with the visa application. So I personally had a few people who had got endorsed with by the by technician who had personally gone through my application. That really helped me strengthen my case. So they were able to point out the places that didn't really work out, and I was able to like give it a few different iterations before I submit it. So make sure it gets enough eyes beyond yours, third person's perspective, help, yeah, perspective that'll really help with the application. And organizations like this will also be helpful. I remember, I think a few weeks before I made my application, I was a part of one of the in-person events um, that eMigr8 hosted in London, and I got the opportunity to ask a lot of questions, and that was quite helpful for me. So I think being a part of those events or those organizations really helps you and ask so many questions so that you get clarified on the things that you might be thinking about. So get help, get as much as help as you can from people, from organizations who would be ready to help you. I think that would be really helpful. Second is keep a target date for your application. So as you know that this does not have any specific timeline. It can go on and on until unless there is no there is absolutely no end date. So I personally had my end date as 2023, end of 2023 before, to make an application. So make sure you have that end date so that it doesn't really get extended indefinitely if you're not able to complete it, because a lot of priorities might come in between your job, family, etc. So you have to make sure that this also gets done in the best way possible. So I recommend keeping a deadline when you'd like to submit it so that you can make sure that you can keep up with it. Yeah. And yeah, I think the last thing that I'd like to say is that don't let imposter syndrome get the best of you. So I think, I don't know, as I said, from the first time I read the technician guide, I felt like I was not qualified, I was not capable. I think all of us probably might feel that way, but don't let all of that get the best out of you. Start making the application, start bringing the evidence together, start building your profile, start working towards it. And I think with time, you'll obviously be able to see where you stand with respect to the application. And worst comes first, just apply for it. And there's no harm in applying. And if you don't make it, you can always apply later. So don't let these imposter syndrome get the best of you, and always believe in yourself, and get as much help as possible from people around you. And and I hope everything goes well, and I wish all the best for all of your application. And if you have any questions, you can ask later on, or if you want to ping me on LinkedIn with any questions, that's fine as well. That's it from my side, Modi. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic, fantastic. You took it really granular and very thorough, sharing your journey. I'm sure there are loads of questions. I have questions from the communities that I will ask you later, but I just want to give the floor to Adisha to also speak to his journey so that we can have the questions together. All right, thank you for taking the time. Catch your breath now. We'll come back to you. All right. Hi, Adisha.
Hi, Mudi.
Fantastic. Your background is looking nicer than mine right now, so it's good to have you now. Right, fantastic. So could you please just share your journey with us also, and also share from a place of, how you got to know about technician, how you navigated the system, right? How you went about getting your evidences, which is very important. Then if there were unique challenges that you had along the line, we also want to hear about them. All right. All
Sure.
right, thank you. Go for it.
Hi, Mudi. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and having me here. I think before I just get on to the application process itself, let me also tell a bit about myself and how I ended up here. So I didn't get on to tech on a planned approach. I actually got on to tech by chance. So I started my career in an ad agency as a media planner. So which is in offline media mostly. And then I saw the world is moving towards digital marketing. So I shifted my jobs to join a digital agency from there to learn digital marketing. And then one of my clients actually hired me in Sri Lanka to his think tank to oversee digital marketing for all of his companies, and also to work on a few interesting tech projects, which is currently one of the largest, actually the largest edtech platform in Sri Lanka. And then afterwards, I moved to Cambodia to join a fintech firm, which is called Wing, and worked in Wing. That was my first entrance to fintech. And then that was as a digital performance manager. And then from there, I came back to Sri Lanka because of my studies. And then I joined another fintech company as a growth manager. That's when I shifted from digital performance or digital marketing to growth marketing domain. And then basically I started working in that fintech company and worked for a couple of years. And then I was taken by Alibaba Group as vice president growth for one of their fintech buy now pay. It's a buy now pay later platform. And after that, actually, I took a break, just like Rekha. So what happens is after you go in your career for some time, you suddenly start to think, am I actually doing what I really enjoy? Or is there anything else out there that I might enjoy? So I took a break in 2023. No, actually 2020, end of 2024, I would say. Sorry, 2023. And then what happened was I was rethinking my career as a blank sheet, right? So I was lecturing as well while I was doing this whole thing for like 5 years plus. And I was only on lecturing, and just I also started a doctorate. Uh, and at the same time, again, in the hopes of exploring myself, which was a very big eye opener for myself as well. And then anyway, I was planning to migrate to the UK. So I was in Sri Lanka when all this happened until last year. But I was going to migrate to the UK not through Global Talent Visa, because I haven't even heard of Global Talent Visa until last year, October. So on 1 October, in the last week of October, I actually came across a YouTube video by one of the YouTubers, and then just saw that there's something called Global Talent Visa, and a guy who has applied for it and of course succeeded is talking about it. I just Googled up what it is, and then I saw another set of YouTube videos by fellow Global Talent alumni. And then I watched a few videos, and then I realized, okay, so this actually fits into some of the things that I have done in my career. I had a hunch there that, there might be a chance if I do apply. I went through the criteria as well. Immediately, I got to work. What I did was I actually, apart from the YouTube videos, I actually looked at the Global Talent guide. I copy-pasted that whole guide into OneNote. Each mandatory criteria and each optional criteria, I wrote down everything that I have done, everything that I can think about in my career, what I have done so far in my career. And after that, then it was kind of apparent that I would succeed if I attempted. So then I straight on start working on it like a little bit more, just like how Rekha mentioned. Basically, I looked at all the things that I have done, and then afterwards, if there are any gaps, if there's any way that I can fill it, or if there are certain things that I never even thought is a great deal. But, if it was not if I never even thought about it, but then again, I just thought and rethought, and I made sure that in those criteria, I had a list of items which are fallback options if one doesn't work out, if whether I can do another. And so I looked at the application from the beginning as a holistic submission rather than just submitting evidence. So it was more about how do I make sure that the criteria are met in terms of evidences, and how do I also make sure that all of these things gel together with my personal statement and especially with my recommendation letter. So when I even reached out to people asking for recommendation letters, I always made sure that certain points I actually requested, can you mention about this project that I did while I was working with you? So I specifically asked for those points because at the end of the day, if I do a submission with recommendation letters saying something which is totally different from what I have evidence for, it doesn't really make sense from what I understood from the YouTube videos that I watched. So in the end of the day, I think it took about 1 month. So I started early November, like full on the application, and then by uh, December first week, I was done with the application. I finished it. And then I got my endorsement on 2nd of January, the day after New Year. And I landed in the UK this year's March. And right now I'm working in growth marketing for a vending tech company. So I'm trying to turn them to a tech company, to be fair. They are not a tech company at the moment, but I'm trying to turn them into one by introducing a few is few verticals that we didn't kind of think about. Why I moved here is basically I wanted to elevate my career because see, I've worked in South Asia, I worked in East Asia, Southeast Asia, and I have not been in the Western part of the world and worked. So I just wanted to get onto this side of the world and explore my opportunities here. So which is why I moved as well. So in terms of some of the insights that I can bring apart from what Rekha already mentioned is that so when you look at the global talent visa itself, what they are looking for is someone who has shown leadership in whatever the domain that they are in digital technology. So be it growth marketing, be it product marketing, be it any non-technical or technical skill for that matter, it's the leadership that you need to showcase, which means that there are certain things that you need to bear in mind when you put forward your application. So these are all some from my learnings. These are not from a guide or anything like that, but from how I approach the application, and I thought that it would be beneficial for you as well. So first and foremost, you have to start believing in yourself. I think one of the things that can happen is, like Rekha mentioned, the guide can be very overwhelming. When it's overwhelming, sometimes you might think, do I not really meet these criteria? So is it something that is unachievable for me? Sometimes there could be certain things which you have done in your career, but you haven't thought that it's such a big thing. Now, for example, I used to do a lot of lecturing. Like I have done about 3,000 plus hours of lecturing in my life, but I never thought it could be a criteria fulfilling factor for the technician visa, whereas it was. So that's basically it. So firstly, believe in yourself, because unless you believe in yourself, you can't make sure that the panel of judges who's going to review your application would believe in yourself. So it would only come out really well from your application if you believe in yourself and if you write it with that confidence. That's number one. Number two, belief and also the ability to showcase the numbers that you have driven for your company. So in my case, as a growth marketer, it was all about how I, double their revenue or lower their cost by, threefold, fourfold, or whatever that was. So basically, it was about that. I have also done this and given actually quantifiable benefit to my company. Was something that I always proved with my evidences that I put forward. For this, I used company reports, I used annual reports. In certain annual reports of certain companies, there were sections which actually boasted about some of the KPIs that we achieved in that particular year, which were basically KPIs that I handle. So in my recommendation letter of that particular company, my recommendation letter, the person who issued my recommendation letter literally says that I was handling XYZ KPIs and it has given us this much of growth. And there's my evidence with the annual report or with some other report. So that's how I kind of structured it. And the next thing that you need to also show is how you how you are a preacher as well to a certain extent. Now, doing it, having confidence in it is one thing. On top of that, do you also build another generation of people like you? So that's where my lecturing came into place. I used to write, and apart from lecturing, I used to write articles to newspapers, magazines, which are in the industry of marketing and technology in my country. So those articles came in handy. So none of these were things that I did for the application. Like Moody mentioned, like early on, these things were things that I naturally did in my career, but as a byproduct, I got this visa. Right, so it was like those things that I have done actually was given a value with this visa in my case. So so I think that's what technician panel would also want to see. Like Rekha mentioned, like sometimes like you might see certain gaps might be there, so those gap fillers are fine as long as you have majority of those criteria fulfilled throughout a longer period of time, rather than having your evidences only at the last week of submitting the application or just a month before or so. So apart from that, I think a few tips that I would like to give you in terms of putting forward your application. First of all, you need to be very clear and concise in terms of what you say in your application, and also there should be a lot of consistency throughout your application. Like Rekha mentioned, and like I said earlier as well, your personal statement is your personal side of your life, whereas your recommendation letters that you get from your referees are more like the summary of all your achievements in your professional life. So summary of all your professional achievements must be evidenced with your mandatory criteria and the two optional criteria that you need to make point by point. So which means none of the things that are said in your recommendation letters shouldn't be left on its own. There should be evidences in your other sections to basically crystallize all what they're saying. So if someone reads on one of the recommendation letters that you have done a particular contribution to grow the company's revenue by X amount, you need to have a evidence out there under an optional criteria or a mandatory criteria to crystallize that point, right? So it's not a standalone thing. So that consistency, clarity of thought must be there. So my advice to you is create a board for this. So so I had my OneNote document with all the criterias and the evidences that I'm thinking of adding into it. And on the other side, I also had a whiteboard full of markings. So I pretty much like wrote down, I ticked off if everything is fulfilled so that I can easily cross-check my documents and make sure that everything is in perfect order and in perfect harmony. That's the most important thing, because soon after you have that perfect harmony in your application, once that looks like one big piece, which works hand in hand, then you can actually be very confident that you'll get your visa endorsement. And apart from that, I think pathways to becoming globally attractive also, like I will just mention some of the things that I did in my career, which I believe has worked quite well for me. I think in all our careers, we are actually living in a world which we refer to as VUCA world. VUCA is basically a term which is coined to say that it's an ever-changing world. And in this world, there are so many changes that are happening, and those changes are often driven by technology. So as I mentioned, like I entered my career as in a media agency as a media planner, which is nothing related to even digital marketing. But when the world was moving in my country, when the digital ad spend of my clients started shifting from a 5% to a 10 to 15%, that's the point that I realized I need to start learning digital marketing. So same way, today I'm seeing tech and marketing doesn't have a overlap. Previously, tech guys were there and you had the marketing guys, and there was no relationship between the two. But today, a marketer cannot live without tech, especially if you are working in a digital product tech company. So in that sense, I learned that the boundaries are merging. So in that case, I started learning technology, embracing a little bit more technology, embracing or exploring about marketing technology. So things like that actually added value to my career, which as a result got me to where I am. And on the other side, which also ticked the boxes for my visa without me even making an extra effort for it. So I think evolving with the world definitely will give you an edge, not just for your visa, but in your career as a whole. And also, like, in terms of how you present your case as well, like I mentioned, you need to be very not just for your visa, but even in a regular forum, even on a networking forum. I think always try to present your case as much as possible. So your personal statement is how you present your case in your own personal, unique way in your visa submission. But same way, how you do personal statements in your visa submission, you have to also do personal statement. It could be 1 minute, 2 minute statements, or it could be just 20-minute speech or whatever that is. So present your case wherever you are and whenever you have to present it more clearly. And for you to do that, you have to also get your story right, your storyline right. So have a story built around your career, give it a think, and then map that story properly. And then also another thing is never miss an opportunity. Sometimes there are certain opportunities that you get that you tend to back off just because you feel that you're not up for it. Even at you might think that you just started the career, you don't know about the subject, or whatever the reason might be. My theory in life, this is something that I have also seen from a uh, renowned businessman as well. So if you want to do something and if you get an opportunity, say yes first. Get the opportunity, learn it later. Because when you say yes, there's always a commitment. And when you have a commitment, you have to somehow work towards it, right? So I think don't miss an opportunity for any matter. And just keep on enhancing yourself, because those opportunities, you'd never know where it would end up into. Now, my career in technology also started because I said yes to a certain opportunity, which I never thought would take me such a long distance. So the client that I was going to meet, who is like a renowned figure in Sri Lanka, ideally my CEO should have gone and met him, but I was an assistant manager back then, and my CEO was up on a business trip. But when I had this meeting landed on, I just went without, because I got it at a very short notice. I got the meeting at around, I was requested for a meeting at 2:30 and I had the meeting at around 4:30. So if I said, and I was unable to contact my CEO as well. So I just took the ownership and I just went there, sealed the deal. That led into a business relationship, got me the entrance for digital technology, field. And then that's also the reason where I am. So if I miss that opportunity thinking, okay, I cannot go today, so therefore when my CEO is back, which is next week, let's meet up. If I sent that email in that way, I don't think my tech career would have started the way it did. So I think all the very best, guys. So I didn't want to bog down with too much of information, but I just wanted to explain you some of the things that made me helped me in my application process, and some of the ways that I think which helped throughout my application process as well. So thank you so much, eMigr8 and Moody, for this opportunity. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask.
There are questions. There are questions. Thank you. Thank you for sharing you know, your journey with us. One of the I will just jump on it. One of the first question from the community is, you are more of a business person, right, than a tech person. You know, what was the defining moment for you when you came across this video, right, that told you that, okay, I could do this, because you have first, more business experience. Secondly, you know, digital marketing can also be seen as non-technical, right? But you mentioned you watch a lot of videos, but what was the convincing factor that you saw that said, okay, this is what I'm going to do next?
Yeah. So if you go through the criteria which is given by Technation for non-business professionals, it clearly defines that you have to have worked in a basically a product-led tech company, and that you have driven significant improvements or results to your company, and you have to show that. So throughout my career, I had done so many things. Now, for example, improving the return on ad spend for certain companies, and thereby improving the ROI of the marketing spending. And there are certain situations where I sometimes even solve certain issues which are related to tech as well, marketing technology integrations and stuff like that. So so basically, in my mind, I had my story well written and engraved. I knew each and every company, these are the main achievements that I have done and proud of. So it was just simply like, soon after I heard it, soon after I read the criteria afterwards, then I suddenly realized, okay, I have grown companies with my skill. And I can also quantify because I had reports of them. I had also certain annual reports of certain companies mentioning those things as well. So, I mean, soon after I had that realization, I thought I'm just going to go ahead. So, like I mentioned earlier as well, it's all about believing in yourself and understanding the value of some of the things that you may have done in your career. You have to take that step back, start reflecting across your career, and see what are those key milestones that you have achieved for companies.
All right, fantastic. Rika, welcome back to the conversation. Right, we have a few questions for you also, right? So I'm just going to read some of the questions I have, and feel free to add to it or take the questions, right? So the first question I'm going to ask Rika is from the community. And the question is it easier to get the visa with technical skill as a developer, or is it better to project yourself as a product manager? So I'm asking because you're a product manager, right? From your experience on interacting with other Technation alumni, is it easier for a developer to get the visa, or is it easier for a product or for a non-technical person to get the visa?
Yeah, I think both of them would be assessed differently. So if you have a technical background, your assessment would be completely different from someone who is not having a technical background. For example, someone who is a product manager or someone similar to Adisha. So it would be hard to say whether it is easier or not. I think because each of them are assessed differently. If I had to speak about like an area like product management, I have seen people who don't have a technical background like I did, which is like I did my bachelor's in computer science and I worked in tech. So I have the technical background, but there are many product managers who don't have that. And there are many of those who have also got the global talent visa. So for someone who is working in as working on the business side of tech, who don't have a technical background, I think that case is completely different, and it is irrelevant whether you have a technical background or not. When it comes to people with technical background, I think the assessment would be completely different, where they would look at um, your background in tech. Basically, they'll go through your GitHub profile, and I think all of those need to be quite updated. And I don't have any of those, so I was not assessed on those criteria, but again, within the technical category, your assessment would be completely different, and yeah, that would be hard to answer what would happen on that side.
All right, fantastic. Right. There's a question here, and I think both of you can speak to it because both of you wrote a recommendation letter. I said, when writing a recommendation letter or personal statement, should we mention exceptional talent, exceptional promise, or exceptional talent / promise? I know that Technation selected me as exceptional talent or promise, but how should we phrase it in our writing? As when you're writing your recommendation or personal statement. So how did you guys go about it? Did you state that you are exceptional talent or you're applying against exceptional promise? How did you go about that?
Yeah. So I'll go first maybe. So firstly, I think you need to identify where you are, whether you are an exceptional talent or a promise. And again, the guide clearly mentions how you would fall within each of those different categories, depending on, less than 5 years or more than 5 years. So once you identify which category you are, you need to make sure that you communicate that with the recommenders and ask them to include that criteria. Now, when it comes to your application with the Global Talent Visa with TechNation, if you have a if you're applying for exceptional talent, and it's completely up to their discretion whether they want to assess you under exceptional talent, or they might even assess you under exceptional promise if they want to. It's completely up to them. So I think the most important thing is how you identify yourself and under which category you apply, because when you're applying for the Global Talent Visa, you need to mention which one you are applying for. And it's up to then the Global Talent Visa, the assessment, to make sure that they assess you under whichever criteria they think you fall under. Yeah, so you have to communicate that with your recommender, with your referee, but make sure that you tell them exactly which one you fall under, and not give multiple, in my opinion, not give multiple titles to it.
Yeah, because I think the challenge is, some people have experience above 5 years, but they're not quite confident that that qualifies them for exceptional talent. So they want to check that, okay, maybe I should apply for exceptional promise instead. How do I position myself so that I don't miss out on either of both, right?
Yeah.
Why the person is asking that question, right?
It's a bit tricky. I think it is, at the end of the day, it is not our discretion. I think it's hard to even say, like, it's hard to even like make an assessment of, which one would be the best for you, because it is totally the panel could be like different people assessing, right? And, it's up to the person who at that day, at that point of time is assessing your application to make the judgment. So you can only make sure that you project yourself in the strongest way possible, and then give it up to them and make sure that they take the right decision. But yeah, that would be my opinion. What do you think, Adisha?
Yeah, initially I had the same issue as well, Rekha. So when I initially drafted my application, I was going to apply as exceptional promise. Why? Because I joined a product-led tech company in end of 2019. And then from there onwards only I've been in product-led tech company. Before that, I was in a conglomerate, which is more like a corporate. And in that corporate, I was in charge of digital marketing and tech projects that we did. So none of them were initially so it cannot be classified as a product-led tech company, that employment. So initially I thought I only have about 3 to 4 years of product-led tech company experience. And I initially thought that I will apply for exceptional promise. And then when I was doing my reflection, I thought, technically speaking, even though I was in a corporate setting, I actually did a project which is today the largest edtech platform in Sri Lanka. So I did the whole GTM up until the GTM of that particular project from a initial concept. So when I actually reflect back and looked at the criteria, then it ticked the boxes. So even though my whole 5 years was not product-led tech company, I have done product-led tech work since that entry in that particular company, which I did the edtech startup. So it was I actually pitched it not as a business. So under mandatory criteria, if I remember right, there was a criteria where you can say if you were one of the founders of a community startup. So that's where I pitched that piece of my career. And I think that's how I got it, because I thought in the end of the day, if I don't get exceptional talent, I will get exceptional promise, because my case for exceptional promise side was rock solid, because 3 to 4 years experience of product-led tech company and driving growth in product-led tech company, plus I had a social enterprise which is product-led, which I brought from an initial idea to a GTM ready pilot project. So I think that's how but so in the end of the day, it turned out to be that I was qualifying for exceptional talent. But in my letters, I made sure in all the letters that I got from my referees, it mentions that he qualifies for exceptional talent, not exceptional promise criteria. Even on my personal statement, I worded it as exceptional talent. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. So that's a very good context that you've laid, because I have a question I will just jump to, all right, that I think your context kind of explains. The person is asking, what if you are a tech person but don't work in a product-led company, but in government, right? The evidence is in my GitHub. So this person is a developer that works with government. He has a GitHub account. He has evidence of building stuff for government organization. How do I plan my application is the question, because he's not in the product-led company, he works for government. So I want you to just go through it again, because you kind of position it as what you have done, Adisha, as what you have done, not necessarily as what the company is doing. Right? Am I correct? So can you just speak to that for someone that works for government and not directly for a product-led company?
I think, see, in my opinion, what he could do is, in the government company entity that he's working for, which is what I did for my valuable one experience as well. So what he could do is look at the kind of work that he's doing. So while working in the government, you might be doing certain projects which are productive. Now, for example, let's say you are doing a platform to, let's say, authorize visas or something like that, which is a service, which is a government service that is offered by the government. So technically, it's basically a product-led. It would come under product-led definition, in my opinion, because it's the same thing. So the EdTech, the company that we started up, which is a social enterprise, offers free education to people in Sri Lanka. So we have about 2 million plus users right now. So do we charge anything? No, it's a free service. And there are government partnerships as well, which come to it. So in the end of the day, that project was launched by me from a idea onto a GTM ready pilot. Same way, just think in your employment with this government entity, are there any products or projects like that which you started and built to be a really large scale solution at the moment right now, or has potential to be a large scale solution which is going to help people in your country? So I think those are some of the things that you might want to think. So in those lines, just try to think and see if you can tick off that product-led criteria using that. That's I think if I were you, that's what I would have done.
All right, fantastic.
What do you
Hope you
think?
got it. Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's about establishing the context, and the way I like to explain it is, you have to point the assessors to what you want them to see, right? You have to focus them on what you want them to see, and this time around, you want them to see the contribution you have made as a product to a particular product. So the best way to describe it usually is I have my glasses here. If I want you to focus on my glasses, I'll put it on. right? And you start looking at, oh, why is he wearing the glasses? Is there something to it? Does he have an eye defect? Does he see properly? Do you understand? And you've taken the attention away from every other thing happening, and you're just focusing on the glasses. So if you are applying and you're in a non-tech platform, focus on the tech part that you contributed to, highlight that very well, and blur out every other non-tech essentials, from your application. So that is what I would say to the young man, right? But we have other questions, so I'm going to race through it because I know I've kept you guys on the call for a minute now or more. But thank you guys for responding. Thank you for brilliant answers that you've offered so far. All right, thank you very much. So there's someone here that says, I have 6 years of experience working in product-led companies. Currently, I am working in a UK-based digital company that is not product-led. How will this affect my application? I have seen some YouTube video mentioning we should have experience in product-led companies. So people are very focused on that. I'm working in product-led, I'm working in a company that's not product-led. How do I position rightly? This person has 6 years experience. Rika, do you want to speak to this person?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think just looking at the person's experience within the product-led companies, I think it's a good exercise to see whether taking those experiences, whether he or she would actually fall under the eligibility criteria. So even though you don't immediately work within a product-led company, those experiences, if it falls in the last 5 years, again, that is another criteria, right?
Yeah.
If those experiences with the product-led company falls within the last 5 years, see if you fall or you can tick off those eligibility criteria in terms of, whether you had led a major initiative, whether you had did something innovative, whether you had done something outside of your immediate work to contribute to advancing your sector. So all of these different criterias, if you fall under them, then I think it's worth giving it a shot. And I think coming back to currently not working in a product-led company, I think going back to the question that we just answered, which was even within the company that he's currently working, whether there are any instances that he can take that again highlights a bit around the tech side of the working of the company that he's working, or whether he's contributed to anything of those. So I think I think it's a proper assessment of his or her own personal profile to see in the last 5 years whether he falls under those, whether he ticks off those conditions of the eligibility criteria. I think if that is the case, then maybe I think he can apply for it.
All right, fantastic. And I'll come back to you right away because there's a question here that's interesting. I know it's early on, but I think you can answer this one. Is that if you receive a global talent visa, do we need to stay in the same field, or is it possible to change to a different path, such as lecturing, which will such change affect the indefinite leave to remain application? So as this person has gotten technician, for example, and is looking at switching to lecturing, right? Would it affect indefinite leave to remain? Can both of you speak to that?
Yeah, happy to go first. As far as I know, I think once you've gotten the global talent visa, then it's up to you how you want to use your time. You could start your own business, you could be self-employed, you could be working with an employer. I think, in my opinion, as far as I know, I've not really reached that stage. So I can say like 99% maybe I can say that it could be true, that it doesn't really matter. And at the time of your application of ILR, it will not hinder. But again, they will at that point of time look at what you have done in the last few years, and obviously it should have some significant contribution to the UK economy. And I think that's the reason why they're giving you the visa. So they would definitely look at what you've done in the last few years, and I don't think it would strictly need to fall under the role that you did previously or what you got the global talent visa for. As long as you're contributing significantly to the economy, I think that would be fine. But do you have any any other idea, Adisha? What do you think?
Yeah, so I actually looked at it very recently as well,
Mm,
because even for me, I'm currently not working in a product-led tech company.
mm,
But of course, with what I'm gonna be doing, I can turn it around to
mm,
one. or rather, at least I will still fulfill the criteria. But then again, so I was following some of the conversations on our Slack channel in the technician alumni group about the ILR, and then some of them have mentioned that when they are assessing the ILR applications, they kind of expect you to show that you have earned money in the UK in your skill that you were endorsed for and in digital technology.
Okay.
And only thing is they don't specify a period for that. So it could be 6 months, it could be 1 year, it could be 3 months, I don't know. But I mean, with some of the conversations that I saw, that they are recommending to have about 6 months of proof to show that you have earned money. So it can be done in multiple ways as well, as I reckon, because if it could be that you have a company formed which is in one of the SIC codes for technology, and then based on that you are earning some profits out of a business income that you do, and then a business operation that you do, or you are working in a company in a tech role. That is also another way of proving the same. So basically you are involved in tech, but SIC code is basically like the code that identifies what industry you are in the UK, right? So whatever, so whether you are in digital technology or non-digital technology, it wouldn't really matter apparently. So you can argue it. And on the other side, I think if you work in a tech company which has a tech SIC, and then like let's say you are a growth marketer just like me, so in that sense also you can still apply for ILR. So what happens is this: when you are an exceptional promise, your ILR requirement is anyway. So in the UK, as per current regulation, from what I know, when you are in a work visa for 5 years, you qualify for ILR. Right, so exceptional promise means, so you anyway get your visa stamp for 5 years, and then you qualify for ILR. In exceptional talent, you have the option of applying for ILR in 3 years. That's what they say. So if I want the ILR in 3 years, I reckon I'll have to show those. Basically, I have earned money in digital technology or whatever the 3 ways that I just said.
Yeah.
And then if I do so, I can land ILR in 3 years, is what I see. But worst case scenario, if I don't get to prove it by the 3rd year,
Extend your visa.
it would be
Yeah.
5 years. So anyway, I have got my visa stamp for 5 years. Because when you are exceptional talent, you can either apply for a 5-year visa or a 3-year visa. Even 3 years is fine, because anyway, after 3 years, you'll be able to go for ILR. But I just thought, when I have the ability to stamp for 5 years, I just paid for 5 years IHS, and then I just got it in one go for 5 years. So if things go southways in 3 years, I still have the option in 5 years to say I have stayed in a work visa for 5 years, and I automatically qualify for ILR.
So just to offer some safety, we advise that at least you earn some money within the field you were endorsed for, right? If you're endorsed as a global talent for digital technology, by all means, even if it's a contracting role, get a role that pays you and you can show that you earn some money. From the Tech Nation guide, it's not specified how many months you need to earn or how much you need to earn. So just to be able to show a pay slip would help if you're looking at indefinite leave to remain within the UK. All right. So Disha, some people are very fascinated about your application. All right. And they're asking, can Adisha break down the criteria he used to apply? Also, what document he submitted as a business person? So
yeah. So I think if I remember right, I applied using the optional criteria 2 and 3. If you can give me 1 second, I can just look at my notebook and tell what exactly I basically ticked off as documents. 1 second.
While we're waiting, guys, please use the chat room, ask questions. Don't ask questions like, how do I apply? That's a very easy. You can find that on Google. Like, that's very easy. You go to Technation and you can apply via Technation, but ask specific question as to criteria. What are the challenges that you would most likely come across? How to apply is the easiest part of the journey, right? It's just going to the URL and filling the detail that they requested for. Okay, let me answer this question. As an electrical engineer working in government sector, I am qualified. Am I qualified to apply for? There are more nuances that we need to look at as an electrical engineer, but do realize that this is for digital technology. So are you working in a digital field or are you working as an electrical engineer? Right. And there are things we need to look at. So we cannot say you can qualify or you cannot qualify. What I would say is if you join the eMigr8 community, we can pre-qualify you looking at your CV and looking at your work history and what you have done and the impact you've made, and we can come to an informed decision at that point. But everybody can apply, but there are two answers. It's either you get a yes or a no, right? But we advise you to apply with a strong application that will give you a yes. Okay, Adisha, we're back to you.
Yeah. So so again, this documents that I have prepared is unique to me because it's coming from my career. This can be different to you. So don't use the same evidences if it's not strong for you, because I use these pieces of evidence because it was really strong for me to use these evidences, because there are other ways of proving the same things that I have proved using your own way, right? So don't think that this is the gospel way of proving your of making your application. So under main criteria, I have done, you have to do 4 evidences. First evidence that I have included is media about my work. I have titled it as that. This was a document which has uh, basically media clippings, some of the TV interviews that I have been to representing some of the companies that I have worked for, about things that I have done in those companies. So there were certain TV interviews that I have included here, and then there were some magazine articles that were in some of the business magazines in Sri Lanka about me and about my career in technology, which I included here. So that's media about my work. So it's all about some of the work that I have done for companies and me speaking in media about those work that I have done, plus a feature that one of the business magazines has done about me. And then the second piece of evidence on the main criteria was a social enterprise, which is the largest edtech platform that I basically built from an idea to a GTM ready pilot project, which is called DP Education. You can Google it up. So in this one, I basically showed how big the platform is now. And to show my initial involvement on the project, with permission from the company, I actually showcase some of the initial GTM, some of the quotations that I have got and some of the correspondence that I have got from some of my vendors that I worked with back then for developing the pilot project, and a CEO from basically a letter from the CEO of the company right now, who was my colleague who worked with me on the project when I was at Valuable One. So basically, those were the 3 evidences that I forward to it, because now I'm not an official part of that company anymore. It's just when I was in that employment, I worked until the GTM and I just moved away. And then main criteria 3, I have showcased above average remuneration to show that, and also that I'm a well-demanded digital marketing talent in technology. So how have I done this? I looked at my payslips. I posted my payslips against the national average for pay, and then showed how more I was paid compared to the national average, right? And then to show how I am in demand, I actually posted a few screenshots of some of the hiring messages that I got from to my LinkedIn from some of the recruiters asking me to join certain companies. So there was one company that invited me to become, join in as a growth marketing director, and there was another one which was a similar role, a consultancy opportunity. So likewise, I just posted those, obviously with the names censored. I mean, it's not right to do that with the names. So I censored the names and I posted those opportunities to show that I have been invited by these people to basically join them. And then also forums recognized as leading digital talent is another article that I have done here. What I have done was I actually included some of the networking initiatives that I have done. So I run a blog which is about growth marketing. So that I posted, and then some of the work that I have done. 1 second, let me just open it up to show. I only
You spoke about, when you were speaking, you spoke about lecturing for over 10 years. Did that play any factor in your application?
That was in my optional criteria, not on my main criteria. Optional criteria, I added lecturing as well. But in this, it was mostly anything that I was not able to put under lecturing, I included here. So it's to show that I am recognized for any expert advice in growth marketing in my country, especially for digital talent. So that's what I did under main criteria. That is very important. So because those main criterias are the ones which actually should solidly show that you are a leader, and optional criteria are mostly to like OC3. Optional criteria 3 is mostly about showing how you have given results, and optional criteria 2 is about how you share your knowledge with people, how do you take stewardship, that kind of stuff. So optional criteria 2 was all about lecturing, some of the articles that I have written and stuff like that. Now, for example, on lecturing, I have got letters from the institutes that I have done lectures for, and outlining the subjects that I cover and for how long I've been doing that and whatnot. I also posted a few stuff from my LinkedIn as well, because I'm very active on LinkedIn. So I used to post as a habit, like some of my sessions from the days that I started my lecturing. So I just went down my LinkedIn. I actually looked at some of those LinkedIn posts and just pasted those as evidence as well, because those are all evidences. And I also work with some of the government entities in upskilling rural areas in Sri Lanka, not necessarily rural areas, but some of the areas like after business for SMEs mainly. So those initiatives I added as well into my submission, but I think I added it onto main criteria. I just opened it up as well. After COVID, there were some business revival sessions that I did, added on to main criteria to show that for a national initiative of that magnitude, I was.
Did you submit over 45 documents? It sounds like a lot. You added a lot of information, because I'm just making a mental note of the number of documents you have mentioned, and that's quite a lot.
So it's like how I approach this is I write a small paragraph, and then I put the evidences, blocks of evidences, all mapped together to very closely knitted in the short space of 3 pages, because I think every evidence piece cannot exceed more than 3 pages as well as a requirement. So I made sure that it's legible, so sometimes someone can read it, but my actual description is on top in one paragraph that I write. So that one paragraph was knitting all the evidences together, all the little pieces of evidences together for that one evidence submission document. That's how I did it. And same way, like even for OC3, it was all about my performance. So I think OC3, I had 3 documents, just optional criteria 3. So I have named them as OC3 on my folder. So optional criteria 3, I have done. So there's one document which outlines all the projects and initiatives that I have done. Then I have done a document which has performance reports of those projects showing that this much of improvements were made. And there are also letters from the employers, again, confirming that I have done these projects. So then there are 3 ways to already prove it. And on top of that, on one of the recommendation letters or some of the recommendation letters, it crystallizes, in this company, I have done these projects, deliver this XYZ results. So it's all basically like woven together perfectly. So that's the key here. It's basically like put evidence, make sure those evidence.
That's quite robust. I wonder, Rika, do you want to do a summary of your own evidences and how you presented them?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my mandatory criteria was let me just have a quick look. It's been a while. I've almost forgotten. Yeah. So it was I led the growth of a product-led digital tech company, so that is very relevant to my profile. So I put details into the projects that I worked on and how I led the growth of the company, including one reference letter from my immediate company that I was working on. And there were a few news clippings with respect to the success of the project, which I also attached along with that. And the second mandatory criteria was receiving a national award of excellence in the digital technology sector. That's something that I received just almost within the last 5 years, while I was applying from back home in India. So I was able to produce that document as a mandatory criteria. Coming to my optional, I went with optional 1 and optional 2. So optional 1, which is innovation, where I was showcasing innovation both like within different companies that I worked on, product-led companies that I worked, again, proof of product in market, associated traction through revenue, and had again a reference letter to that as well, and a few different innovative projects that I worked on with proper screenshots and evidence of why it was innovative. And second optional criteria was recognition outside of my work, where I was able to attach evidence to some talks and conferences that I've delivered, which were, which were justifying like why it was leading events and how many participants were there, like the entire paragraph around that within the technician. I've really had to prove those really fell within those categories. And mentorship was also one of the things. So I'm quite active on mentorship within the product and startup space. So I was able to show how my mentorship was structured and what were the criteria of assessment and why it was selected against X number of people and why it was unique, and how the mentorship has led to recognition of my personal contribution. So all of this together as another evidence. So these were my main 6 evidences. But apart from that, since I had 4 more options, I just put out some of the other things which randomly, which I just thought might add some credibility, but I don't know whether they were assessed or not. Obviously, you don't get feedback to successful applications, but these were the main ones that I applied.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's very concise and detailed. Fantastic. So there's a question here that I want to ask both of you, which is linked to the evidences you provided. Someone said, I understand that medium is not valid for consideration, but I received conference speakers request, i.e., this person spoke for Salesforce and Mad Dreaming, right? I'll take it again. I understand that medium is not valid for consideration, but I received conference speaker request, right? I wrote on blogs. Due to a research blog I wrote on Medium, is it okay to include that in my application? If I include it, could it negatively impact my application? So this person has some Medium articles that he has written. Somebody also mentioned LinkedIn is also not being considered, right? Did you have any of those evidences from Medium or from LinkedIn, and was it accepted?
I personally do not include those as a standalone evidence. I do not have Medium at all. obviously LinkedIn, I had to put links to it because I was trying to convey something else, probably a recognition, probably that someone had posted that I wanted a screenshot of and put that like that way. I put on my LinkedIn profile, but not just my LinkedIn profile saying that I had so many followers or this other so many articles that I've written, not like my own personal contribution, but when there was a recognition in my name, I had those as LinkedIn evidence that I had shown. So I think again, I don't know if I don't think Medium as a platform would be valid as a standalone evidence again. But I think it's a good thing to show if you have a good solid background or solid track record of posting on Medium, maybe as like a one-off evidence at the end of your 3-page evidence of the other things that you're providing. Maybe as a part of that, it's good to add to your profile, but I don't think it is strong enough to stand alone as a single criteria. And again, on LinkedIn, again, apart from showing what you have done, what you have posted, I think if there are instances where someone else has mentioned you or given you appreciation or recognized you for some activity or some contribution, I think using those clippings and screenshots would be helpful rather than just showing what you wrote on LinkedIn and your contribution purely to LinkedIn. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Hi
Thank
guys.
you.
Adisha, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I completely agree with Rekha as well on that. In my MC, however, I had my own writing on LinkedIn, but it was not standalone. What I did was, remember I mentioned that there was a document which shows that the marketing fraternity and the tech fraternity turns to me for basically expert advice on growth marketing, right? So in this, I had like 2.5 pages about some of the like provincial level conferences that I have done, national level conferences that I have done in partnership with government, in partnership with some of the marketing institutes in Sri Lanka, and different things like that, and also like university invitations to participate in expert forums in emerging themes like AI. So things like that. AI in marketing, I think that was the forum specifically. And then in that document, there was like a half a page remaining for me to put something, because I was thinking to myself, there's half page remaining, so might as well put something in it. Then I thought, what can I put forward to show that I have a certain following in digital technology and add value to my application. So what I did was, so I have a 13,000 plus following on LinkedIn. I looked at the industry breakdown and I found that there was a X amount of tech, people coming from tech industry, right? And predominantly it was fintech, also financial services and technology. So how I argued, so this is again, like, I don't know how it worked out for me, but this is how I argued my case. What I said was, in my LinkedIn, I have 13,000 followers. And in these 13,000 followers, I have this X percentage of tech fraternity people who are tuned to my content that I write on LinkedIn, and reach out for me for expert advices. So it was to prove that I'm sought after talent in growth marketing for technology. But it was only, like I mentioned, the significance of that main piece was on a 3-page document, only a half page only had that LinkedIn piece. So and how I argued it as well.
Fantastic. That's good insight. Thank you, guys. Guys, if you are still on the chat, please drop your question. But you have won yourself a free 10-minute coaching session with one of our coaches at the eMigr8 community, right? I'll just tell you right away how to redeem that prize. You have to join the eMigr8 community, either the WhatsApp or Telegram community, and just say you are part of the November 20th edition, and the admin will allocate a time slot for you, right? And we can answer more questions on that forum. I'm just going to run through some of the questions and I just answer them quickly because you were not asking specific questions to our users. One of them says, I am an instructor in robotic and automation for 6 years, mostly installing robotic systems in universities across Nigeria, but now in the UK working as a control engineer. Is it possible to apply for global talent visa? How do I go about it? Yes, it is possible to apply for global talent visa. If we have a coaching session with you, we can, crystallize how to go about it. But it starts from going to technician.io, read the technician application guide, and just read what's OC1, what is mandatory criteria, I just understand them and see if you have evidences already, then we can take it forward. I also have somebody else, another engineer on the call. Say I'm an engineer and a project coordinator in oil and gas industry. Can I explore the global talent route as well? Yes, you can. It starts from technician.io, understanding, just reading generally the information there, digesting it and seeing if you have evidences already to match those criteria. Then we can talk if you have any sort of stumbling block or any information that you cannot process. I also have somebody saying, thank you for this community. This is my question. We all have different tech background. As a mobile phone repairer, what category should I group myself? That's the non-tech category, right? And we need to explore what skill are you doing your business, for example, and that we can measure impact, we can measure other things that aligns with the global talent criteria. Right. I think this question I would ask Reka to answer this question. He said, I have worked as a product developer in a telemetry company for 9 years, currently running my own laundry outfit. Can I apply with my past experience or gain more experience in tech before applying? That's the question. So this person has 9 years working as a product developer in telemetry company for 9 years. He has veered into entrepreneurship, running his own laundry outfit at the moment, but he wants to apply for global talent. So he's asking, can I apply with my past experience as a product developer, or do I go gain, more experience in tech before applying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is similar to one of the other questions asked previously, which is looking at your background in product development of like 9 years, you said. So obviously you would then qualify for exceptional talent because you have more than 5 years of experience. So looking at your career and seeing like if those years contribute to the eligibility criteria, so whether you actually fall within those eligibility criteria, whether you're able to tick off those boxes when it comes to your whether you've shown innovation, again, like contribution beyond your immediate occupation, all of those things. If you're able to tick off those criteria, eligibility criteria, I think you can apply. But also I think it's important to look at how this is my personal opinion. I am not, again, it's not based out of the technician guide, but also depends on how long back was this experience, right? Like if it was immediate, like a year or two before, then I think they would be fine to consider. But I think if you have a huge gap in your tech career, and if you're currently not doing anything currently related in the digital technology sector, then it might be questionable and might be worth considering coming back to tech for a while and then applying. But if it was something in the last, before a year or so where you have had the experience as a product developer, then it might be a good thing to look into. So all depending on like your personal journey, your personal career, to really say whether you are eligible to apply.
All right, fantastic. So I have two more questions, or let me say three more questions before I allow you guys go. You guys have been very fantastic and very kind to us tonight. All right. One of the question is a generic question, and I just want both of you to just give example to it. Somebody's asking, please give examples of evidence that a founder who is into tech IT training courses online should have. All right. So this person is a tech founder, but this person has an IT training course that he or she does online. So he or she's asking, what are the kind of evidence should I be submitting for technician?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to look into the guide to be a little bit more sure shot on that. But I think the requirements for tech founder is slightly different from product managers and maybe even from a marketing person as well. So I think I'm just looking at the technician guide quickly just to like give a quick brief on that. But um, yeah, I think again, even as a founder, looking at the what is your involvement in tech, like how much of a product-led digital technology company are you running? So that sort of assessment is important. And if you are, then what are the different technical contributions that you have made? Or as a founder, then it would be what are the commercial contributions that you have made in the field? And you have to probably look into those different commercial side of things that you're providing as your evidence. So I'm trying to recollect what those documents are. But just give me a second. Yeah, I think evidences of sales, domestic or international sales shown that shows customer numbers for each country in which the company is operating, including a ranking of your distribution channels with a breakdown of when these sales were achieved for each channel. So this is under your one of the optional criteria. So if you're following one of the optional criteria, then your requirement would be a little different from us, and that is where you have to look into the criteria specifically for a founder to see what document you have to produce, which will be completely different from we would produce. Um, Also, businesses should produce like last set of audited accounts, projections for current year, current financial year, and articles of association. So all of these documents are very specific for you as a startup founder. I think it's worth going through the technician guide to see whether you have those and which category do you fall under. Yeah, so the technician guide clearly says, as a founder, what documents you need. So I think going through that would be worthwhile.
All right, fantastic. So I just want to add to that to say, please read the technician guide, right? It gives you an idea of the kind of evidences you should be applying with, right? So I'll go to my next question and I'll start from Adisha, right? And the question is, how has eMigr8 community helped your journey, if at all it did help your journey, right?
That's a good question. So initially, when I did, so there are two stages of the application, right? The first stage of the application, surprisingly, I actually didn't reach out to anyone in particular to review my application. I wish I had that, help, but I didn't have it. But however, I must also mention there were some of like two or three people which I reached out to on LinkedIn, apart from the YouTube videos that I watched and the technician guideline and all those stuff. At a very latter stage, I just asked certain questions and they were pretty helpful, like some of the previous alumni. But that was at a very like much later stage when I had like specific questions, because I didn't have the reason to reach out to anyone, to be fair, at the beginning, because the technician guideline, as much as it can be very intimidating, it's also very descriptive. So it actually gives you a lot of information about what they specifically expect. And there's a lot of YouTube videos that are out there by various parties, including eMigr8, which I watched long ago. So those videos were absolutely, explaining all what's needed and what's required. So those were my guidelines. But however, in my second stage, I actually signed up for the visa forum. Like there's a technician alumni forum. And on that forum, I actually posted certain questions about the second stage of the application, which is more into visa admin work, which I'm not very much familiar with. So I had help with that. But the initial part of the application was much straightforward for me.
All right, Rika,
Yeah.
you want to contribute to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there was, as I mentioned when I was speaking earlier, there was one in-person event that was held, I think last year, December. which was almost sadly at the end of my application. So right before I was going to apply for my stage one, but I had almost completed my application and just doing the final touches to it. And that's when I saw this event. And yeah, that is where I came to one of the venues here in London, and it was a really informative session. Where I got benefited the most was by asking questions and hearing what other people were asking as well. So I think it was not just learning from the organization, but also from the other people who were asking questions, which I probably didn't think about. I think that was quite helpful, and I think it definitely took some of those insights insights into my application, which I must say really helped it a lot. And I wish I had discovered it slightly earlier so that, I probably could have been a bit better prepared. But yeah, definitely was helpful.
All right, thank you very much. So this is our final question, and it's just for both of you, right? Basically, there are a couple of people on the chat, and a lot more people will see this recording, and they fall into four category, right? We have the beginner, absolute beginner, that's just hearing about Tech Nation, and they're not even in tech. They're trying to make their way into tech, so they're beginners in tech, and they are wondering, is this a good way to invest my energy? Should I be chasing global talent, right? We also have the intermediate guys, or guys we call the junior developers. They have skill sets, they've built, they've contributed to product-led technology, all right, and they don't see themselves as this, people see global talent as something for the C-level executive, right? So the junior developer has a way of writing themselves out of it. Do you have any advice for those category of people? And we also have the C-level executive they have everything, but they are wondering, would I qualify? Is there a specific thing I need to do? Because again, nobody likes rejection. Like, so if we can speak to those category of people, just a piece of advice to them, right, as to why they should make this trip or why they should make this journey with Technician, and what are the pegs, and if you can also share what you have enjoyed, since moving into the UK, is from job and employment, culture, family, what are the pegs of that you've enjoyed that you're looking back and say this was a good decision I took.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to go first. So to those people who are probably early stage in their tech career, or just exploring tech in general, I think what to keep in mind is, instead of just applying for global talent visa because you want to come to the UK, think about what is your interest in tech. Because what happens is, if you're interested in any aspect of tech, it's more likely that you will do something beyond your day-to-day job to keep your life interesting. So just talking about my own experience, I started off as a computer scientist and worked in tech, but I really didn't enjoy coding, and that is the fact, right? And I moved out of tech to explore a different career, and then landed in product management. But in that journey, I had done so much and I had achieved so much that at that point of time, I didn't even know global talent visa existed. But since I was interested in a specific journey and a career path, I I made sure that I have done work that is beyond what someone else would ask me to do in a 9 to 5 job, which when I was able to produce in the global talent visa application, it came as useful. So I would always suggest that you find something that you're passionate about, be it in tech or be it like tech adjacent, like how I currently use sports science and technology to build something. What can you use alongside tech to probably help you, or help you be more interested in some area that you are more passionate about, or that falls in under your mission, or your something that you really love to explore. So I think finding that and then taking the journey from there, I think would automatically, like in the next 6 to 12 months, if when you are planning to apply for a global talent visa, you would automatically tick those boxes. You would already have things that you've contributed, already have achievements that you've made because you've done it beyond, just because you're interested in it. So yeah, I would suggest like see global talent visa, like not to see it as like an end point, but also as a way that you can explore your passions and work towards it in the next few months. And for people who are a little bit more experienced, I would say, yeah, I think, um, yeah, look at your profile, basically look at where you stand in the last 5 years. And if you think, if you think you tick majority of the points, then go for it, because it's more likely that you will be favored more or leaning more towards the success than the failure. But if you think that, it's just 50-50, or, you have a long way to go, then build your profile a little bit more. Maybe just take a year or more time to build your profile, and then at the end of that, maybe give it a go. But again, I think assessing your criteria would assessing your profile would be quite important, and not being too critical. I think taking suggestions from other people as well, because when we ourselves look at our profile, we become very critical and we say we're not good enough, or you don't have what it takes. But just taking help from the people around you who have probably got the global talent visa, or organizations like this, can really help you, give you perspective just beyond your own your own eyes. And yeah, I've been in the UK for 5 years. I came in as a student, then started working, and yeah. But overall, it's been 2.5 years in London, and I think it's been great. I definitely have a lot more opportunities when it comes to my own specific area of interest. So, talking about sports and talking about sports science, it's not really that advanced back in my home country. So when I'm looking at here in the UK, it it is a lot more, there's a lot more opportunities, and there are a lot many ways that I can get involved, both in sports science and tech. So I think in that ways, it is really exciting for me in terms of my career growth. And I think here you meet people from all different backgrounds and all different levels of expertise. And yeah, I think when it comes to career advancement and evolving as a person, it's really the best place to be. So definitely worth considering global talent visa for the right reasons. But yeah, that would be my take.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Alicia.
Yeah. So I think I completely agree with what Rekha said as well. Nothing much to say. So it's basically, if I'm just I mean, do it for the passion. Because in the end of the day, what matters is you need to enjoy what you are doing. You shouldn't be doing something just to get a visa, because I'm sure if what you enjoy is not tech, there are other pathways for what you enjoy, and also get into countries as well if you are planning to migrate. But if you do enjoy tech, get onto it. Look at the criteria if you are an early starter, and then see what are you doing right now versus what more can you do, right? It's always good to prepare because if I knew about global talent visa before I did this, some of the tick boxes I would have ticked off long before I even thought about applying. And some of my application would have been like, I don't know, I think much better than what it was when I submitted for it. But the good thing is, now I didn't know about. Now this is my second message for people who are in tech and who are already established in tech. So I was you, and I didn't know about global talent visa until last year October. I didn't even know that there's a criteria like there's something like this, and especially for technology. And even if there was a criteria, I never knew that there's something opened up for business skill sets as well, right? So I did not work towards a visa. I worked on my own way, and the visa criteria just matched. That's all that happened. And in the end of the day, like all I needed to do in as my visa application was finding the correct evidence to put forward. So basically figuring out what's my best foot forward, because my problem was having too much of evidence. And how do I say this story? Only the most important parts in just 3 pages for one evidence article. So then it's a matter of just taking out certain things that you don't want to talk about, and just keeping basically prioritization game, which is also difficult. By the way, sometimes it can be more difficult than actually getting ready for a application in itself, right? Because you wouldn't know what to do and what to do, and you sometimes suddenly you would feel, oh my God, this is also good, this is also good, that is also good. Now what do I put? And all of a sudden your document ends up being like 6 pages, and you have to now cram it to 3 pages. So that's the problem that you are going to have, like if you have fulfilled the criteria. Automatically you'll have too much to present, and at that point you would, ideally, in an ideal scenario, you would know that you will get through this. But, us being judgmental upon ourselves at the point of application, you still doubt. So after I submitted the application as well, I thought to myself, there's a high chance that I might not get it. And now when I look back, it's funny, but at that point it was so serious. I really forgot about it after I applied for the visa, because purely for the fact that I was prepared for the worst, right? But it turned out well, because I think in the end of the day, it was the clarity that they expect as well. In your story, you have to make sure, plan out your story. Just because you have all the evidence, I have some 3 pages full of documents, don't apply. Plan out your story very well, and then go for the application. In the end of the day, something that I thought, if I fail, if I pass, yes, I go to the UK. If I fail, I have done a massive exercise of reflection of my career for myself. And by the time I paid my application fee, I was not feeling sad. Why? Because I have reflected on my career, and I thought, oh my God, I have done these things. I never even thought that these are actually, something, significant. But I have just done those things because I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't even see much value. Much weight in it. Not value, but value I saw, not weight. But in the end of the day, it worked out well. So that's where I feel that would be your aha moment. If after you apply for the visa, if you feel, okay, fine, I paid £900 for the visa fee, but that's fine, because I have done an exercise which is beneficial. I have now reflected myself, and it's really good that if you feel good about you, that means you'll get the visa.
Fantastic.
And
Fantastic. That's an angle that I never thought about, self-reflection, profiling your journey,
yeah,
remembering the things that you have done, yeah, and putting them into context. And it can even inform other decisions as to what you want to do more in
yeah.
the future. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you, guys. This has been so good, right? Too many lessons, too many information, and this is one that we will have to rewatch and rewatch to make sure we get, everything that was said today. So thank you, Reka. Thank you, Adisha, for your time. We know we've kept you slightly longer than scheduled, but this was totally worth it, and we are grateful. If one last thing that we usually just ask, are you working on any project that you want us to know about, to be part of? Do you want us to be, as a community, be your first tester of any product or projects you are working on? Or do you want to share your LinkedIn profile so that we can connect with you and build together, and also reach out from time to time? So feel free to use the chat room, share your LinkedIn. But if you have any projects, final word before saying goodbye, just let us know. If you have a side project, a passion project, anything that you want us to be part of, right? We're happy to hear, and we're happy to also come on your platform and share with you. So anyone.
Yeah, I'm actually ideating on a side project, which is a bit early to share, but something that I would love to probably develop in the next couple of months. So as and when I'm ready, I would definitely love to come back and share the link, and probably it would be great if, yeah, you can get on board
Yeah,
and test some of those things. But as of now, it's a bit too early.
no problem.
Yeah,
Well,
and yeah. And then if anyone has questions, they feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn on the same name. Yeah, I'll probably just drop my LinkedIn as well. But yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any other questions as well.
definitely. And we're here when you're ready. We will definitely be eager to join you on that journey and do any
Thank you.
testing, be early takers, first onboarders, first users.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Same goes to me as well. I just landed in the UK last March, so I think it's a bit too early to think about a business model. But of course, I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. So I think down the line, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted this visa was because it gives me the freedom to do anything I want, like whether to work or whether to start something of my own. So eventually, second, the latter would be the one that I want to be involved in. And when I do that, definitely I'll reach out to the community and then probably have some testers and maybe sometimes even partners. If I have to reach out for partners through the community itself, I'll see because I don't leave any stone unturned in that sense.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the time. I'll allow you go now. Have a fantastic rest of your day. All right. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. We are super, super grateful. We'll come back next time to sort of ask more questions, and we're glad to have you, when you're applying for your indefinite leave to remain, if you do choose to. So in another year or two, we'd like to have you on the platform again, just to understand your journey and how far you have come. Thank you, and do have the good rest of your day. So I'll let you guys go now. Thank you very much. All right, okay, guys. This has been fun. This has been very informative. Right, the link thing. I shall drop his link in on the chat, so you might want to just click on the link and connect with him straight up. And you can also ask brilliant question. He's a busy man, from what you can tell. Please don't go ask, "How are you, sir?" No. Ask straight questions. These are busy people. All right, get straight to it and don't bug them with articles. Just ask the specific questions you want, right? And that's why they are here. So thank you very much. After listening to this gentleman and the speakers, right, and you think you don't yet qualify, or you're looking for a coaching session, or you think you need a coach to guide you through, we are offering you a 10-minute coaching session from the eMigr8 community, right? So just join with the link. I posted a link of the community in the group, right? Just join with that link and we would reach out to you with a scheduled time that you can speak to a coach. Please, it's a 10-minute session. Do ask, get your story straight and ask important questions. How to apply for Technation is available on technation.io, which is the Technation site. They have a Technation guide. So how to apply is not a question. Without qualify, that is also not a question, because you can look at the requirement. What you should be asking is, how do I tell my story? What kind of criteria should I be looking for? We believe everyone is globally attractive. We just need to work with you to put out that part of your work. We believe everyone is amazing, right? You're not just telling the right story just yet. So that's what we will help you achieve, right, at eMigr8. If you join our platform, we have self-guided roadmap. We've talked about landing the UK Global Talent Visa today for non-technical people. So if you don't have your GitHub account, you don't know C#, this edition was for you. It was very informative, right? A lot of information that I believe you can use. Now we have our helpline. So if you can send a WhatsApp message, WhatsApp message only to the number on your screen. If you want specific consultation, you want to ask specific question, you're a C-level executive, you don't have time on your side, and you just want to cut the chase, we're here for you. We have our helpline. You can send WhatsApp message to that line, and we will be there to answer you and give you the informations we do have. All right. Thank you very much. We have a lot of other events coming up in the community, right? Pay attention to our social media handles. Pay attention to the community itself. We are always updating the next sessions that we're going to be having on a platform, right? So please do pay attention to that. Also share this information. One of the guests was speaking today that he just found out about Technation October last year, right? And we've been doing this for, over 2 years now, right? So that means that a lot of people that are qualified that don't know about Technation, right? Pay it forward. We've given you free information. Pay it forward by sharing this information with your community, with your colleagues, with your friends, with like-minded individuals who are also looking to explore migration to other communities, either to the UK, to Canada, to the US, to Hong Kong, to Australia. We do have coaches that can work with them to make their dream come true. All right. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely rest of your day till we meet again next time. Please, information is not power. The information you use is what is power. So make sure you use the information you have gotten today to move yourself from point A to the destination you want to be. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks
Have a
all.
good evening.